Mars retrograde begins on December 6th at 6 degrees of Leo. And this is going to be an interesting Mars retrograde. So let me break it down for you into a few phases. So basically, for the majority of December, Mars is retrograde. Now take that and apply it to what it means for end of year goals, themes, events, projects. Mars retrograde brings a slowdown, a review. Instead of being able to initiate and move things forward, there can feel like there are delays, retractions, things that you want to move forward are stalled out or put on pause. So this can be a good expectation to have as we close out 2024, because that Mars retrograde will be bringing a slowdown, a review, and perhaps even a sense of anger and impatience because you can't get done what you wanted to get done. Now, as Mars then continues into January, there will be the second opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. This happens on January 3rd. So basically, the new year is going to begin with the Mars-Pluto opposition, but this time, Mars is retrograde in Leo. Pluto is direct in Aquarius. It's happening at 1 degree. 1 degree Leo, 1 degree of Aquarius. So this is the next standoff. After that November 3rd opposition, when they were both at the end degrees of Cancer and Capricorn, respectively. So now they're meeting up in the new energy, but Mars isn't in his full strength or power because he's retrograde. He has to hold back some of his confidence, or he feels like his confidence is being thwarted or diminished. So that Mars wants to stand up for himself, and this is happening in fixed signs. So they're both feeling locked in to a position, and this is a second standoff. Then what happens next is Mars re-enters Cancer on January 6th and will journey through retrograde through Cancer back to 17 degrees of Cancer. So Mars softens into Cancer retrograde until February 23rd. So just to give you an understanding, retrograde starts December 6th and goes to February 23rd, but Mars changes signs, which changes the energy. So as Mars re-enters Cancer, there is more to work through under the surface around what you're feeling. And the energy can be more hesitant, can be more passive aggressive, can be more frustrated. So we're going to need to have responsible ways of working through that while owning the emotion, owning the feeling. So not pushing it aside or trying to deny it, but rather to say, this is what I'm feeling, this is where I'm angry, pissed off, impatient, frustrated, and how do you work with that in a healthy manner that allows you to at least move the energy somehow? Because if Mars is retrograde in Cancer, you can feel like you have to contain it all. And that's where the energy starts to get, it's like it gets stuck and it doesn't move, it doesn't flow. So it's going to be an interesting dance here of being able to work with what you're feeling and knowing that the more responsible you can be, the better. So then Mars stations direct February 23rd or 24th at 17 degrees of Cancer, and will then move forward, covering Cancer territory again, re-entering Leo, and completing that retrograde shadow territory the beginning of May 5th and May 6th. So Mars retrograde December 6th to February 23rd. But the energy will last into early May. So I hope this gives you some good things to be aware of when dealing with this energy. Of course, we'll keep talking about it, and I will be discussing it on my Wednesday podcast as well. But just know that when Mars is retrograde, the end of the year has a slowdown, and so does the beginning of 2025. It could feel like it's harder to get things moving, especially with that opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. It could feel like it takes more effort, more energy for anything to really get moving. Ideally, astrologically speaking, you would plan to initiate when Mars is completely done with the retrograde territory, but that's not realistic. So the frustration could be in the delays, in the plans not taking off or moving ahead as expected, in things not going as fast as you'd like, having to sit in it or churn in it. But just know that, again, when we understand the energetics, it can help us with planning, expectations, and not feeling like we have to push it, because chances are that could just lead to more frustration. I also want to give you a heads up. March, retrograde Venus and retrograde Mercury together. The first quarter of 2025 is not an efficient, smooth moving energy. We start the year with this retrograde Mars. Then we get to March, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, and eclipses. So just do what you can, again, realistically, to know that the first quarter of 2025 is gonna have starts and stops, false starts, things that don't go anywhere. You redo it, you throw it out, give yourself a break, try again, bring in something new. Maybe that doesn't work. I mean, there's just a lot moving around, and it might not be a smooth start to the year, but astrology gives you the heads up, right? So I hope that helps with some planning, or just at least understanding it's in the cosmos, it's not personal. But again, to just be wiser with it and to know what is worth your energy and what is not. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back with another one of these short updates very soon.